Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to Autumn's Backyard Garden. I am so excited to be home. It has been a wild ride. This past week and a half has been really difficult. I lost touch with quite a few of you, and I hope that never happens again. But I'm just so thankful that I was able to get my channel back and everything, and I hope that the community members that unsubscribed because they thought that I was now Tesla, I hope they come back, really, because that was a scare that I never want to go through ever again. Yeah. And lesson learned, I'm never going to open up another email from a sponsor ever again. You know, I'm still going to be uploading on my second channel. So, you know, just wow, you know what I mean? But I just hope that other content creators, they learned from my mistakes as well, and they now know what to look for. All right, on to the news, shall we? All right, so what we're going to be talking about today is economic conditions that just keep getting worse. And, you know, as we prepare to enter into 2023, right, we find ourselves in high inflation at the same time that economic activity is starting to slow down. And just like we witnessed in 2008, employers are starting to conduct mass layoffs. And then we have a horrific housing crash that is sweeping across the nation. And those that have been waiting for the U.S. economy to implode, you can stop waiting now, you know, because this economic implosion, it's officially arrived. Yeah. Now, there are some facts, okay, facts that I'm going to give to you right now. That's only going to prove that this massive economic meltdown is already happening right now, okay? The first one is existing home sales have now fallen for 10 consecutive months. The next one is that existing home sales are now down 35.4% over the past 12 months. Home builder sentiment has now dropped for 12 consecutive months. Home construction costs have risen more than 30% since the beginning of 2022. The number of single-family housing unit permits has fallen for 9 months in a row. The Empire State Manufacturing Index, that's plunged to a negative 11.2 in December. In November, we witnessed the largest decline in retail sales, even with Black Friday and all that, okay? Even the biggest names on Wall Street, they're starting to let workers go. In fact, it's being reported that Goldman Sachs is going to start laying off approximately 4,000 employees. Now the Federal Reserve, they're admitting that the number of actual jobs in the United States has been overstated by at least 1 million. And the U.S. job cuts, they were 417% higher in November than they were same time last year. A recent Wall Street Journal survey found that approximately 2/3 of Americans expect the economy to get even worse next year. And yeah, it is. We may see lower gas prices and stuff like that. But that's just a very small percentage of what may be good, you know? A newly released Bloomberg survey has discovered that 70% of U.S. economists believe that a recession is coming in 2023. It's already here. Now, inflation continues to spiral wildly out of control. At this point, a head of lettuce in California costs $11. A loaf of bread in Australia is $14. It's absurd. But this is why I have been trying to, tell you guys, start your freedom gardens. Get back to basics in the kitchen. It's not that hard to bake a loaf of bread. Get a bread maker, okay? I have a bread maker. I love my bread maker. I use it all the time. There's nothing like having a fresh loaf of bread. There's nothing like it, especially when you know that you are the one that made it, In the description box below, I put links to all of my preps that I buy, and I change it out regularly and stuff like that. And the link to the bread maker that I have is in the description box below, okay? So I am encouraging everyone, let's get back to basics in the kitchen and let's start those freedom gardens, okay? Now, overall, here we go again for another reason to start your freedom gardens. Vegetable prices in the United States are more than 80% higher than they were this time last year. Okay, so thanks to the rapidly rising cost of living, 63% of the U.S. population lives paycheck to paycheck. In a desperate attempt to get inflation under control, the Federal Reserve just thinks that they can just keep upping this, the interest rates. It's not going to help. It's really not. Their saying is, short-term pain is necessary in order to tame inflation. Oh, how wrong you are. Meanwhile, we have politicians in Washington who are busy creating more inflation by borrowing and spending, printing more money, right? At a rate that is absolutely unprecedented in our entire history. The absurdity is real here. This week, I don't know if you guys heard about this. There was a $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill that was literally rammed right through Congress. Okay. Not a single member of Congress read it. You want to know why? Because it was 4,155 pages long. That's why. But leave it to Senator Rand Paul to pull his trickery. He literally put this omnibus on a trolley and he rolled it out. He rolled it out. And he questioned it. He held a press briefing. He really did. And because they literally demanded, okay, well, no, not they. He demanded to know how any one of those people in Congress read all 4,155 pages before end of the week. Because he knew that they would all lie and say, oh, I read it. No, you did not. So this just highlights, how ludicrous this facts tracking of this bill has been. And if you would even know what they actually are going to spend money on, you would be up in arms and your top would just blow. But unfortunately, this absurd spending bill has broad support on both sides, and it just shows how broken Washington really has become. Our system of government has failed time after time, over and over again. Our politicians continue to spend money on some of the most ridiculous things imaginable. And have you ever noticed that, just a question, have you ever noticed that when our politicians, when they want to push these types of bills in, it's either right before or right after a major holiday, It's because no one else is paying attention. No matter who we send to Washington, the story remains the same. As long as our politicians are borrowing and spending trillions of dollars that we do not have, the Fed's officials will not be able to win this war against inflation. I'm sorry, but you can raise it to the ceiling and up to this outer space. It's never going to stop inflation. It's not. They can send literally, you can go up above the moon. It's not going to help. It's not. Because inflation will continue to remain high. It will remain high because our politicians insist on showering the nation with giant amounts of cash. We should all be deeply offended on what's happening here. But most Americans, it's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know. They don't know what's in these bills that are being pushed through. But once economic conditions get worse than they were in 2008 and 2009, the majority of the U.S. population is going to be extremely angry. Of course, they could turn out much differently if we had made better decisions. But unfortunately, we've run out of time here. There's no going back. This is a tremendous amount of pain ahead for all of us. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. There's nothing. Just thankfully, we've all prepared as much as we could for what is literally going to smack us right in the face. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Okay? I appreciate every single one of you. And thank you for sticking with me. All right? I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And as always, fear less. Ciao.